I live in Victoria. Victoria is the capital of British Columbia, which is the most western part of Canada. This is a beautiful port city on Vancouver Island, surrounded by Pacific Ocean. I immigrated to Canada in 2011, and my original plan was to start a new life in Vancouver. But less than a month after landing, my husband and I ended up getting jobs here, and we stayed. So I love to think and say that this island and Victoria chose me. I wasn't following any news. My daily life is quite busy, and when I have spare time, I don't spend it on TV. Those days I was bouncing from my regular job to school and school homeworks to the preparation for my family vacation. I put a lot on March spring break. We were supposed to go to visit our dear friends who live in the Arabic Peninsula, to spend some quality time and rest after a very demanding year. I also planned to start my Liminal World project, which I had been preparing for quite time. So I knew that there was a virus out there, but I ignored the fact. I didn't want to think about changing my plans. So I was in that go-go mode, and I was resisting to stop to the very last moment. And then on March 13, I remember it was Friday, I finally canceled my trip. And that weekend I spent being very sad and angry. I couldn't know that in just 2-3 days we will be living in completely different reality. Because in the second half of March, Victoria went into self-isolation mode. This is not my first isolation. I grew up in Belgrade, Republic of Serbia, and during the 90s, the country I was born in disappeared in civil war. Serbia went through the decade of harsh isolation. Our economy and society was destroyed, and we had restrictions of essential things like electricity or food. What I used to refer as my life or normal life became suddenly like a good old movie. Back then I was a teenager and I didn't have control over my life. I didn't have experiences, no perspective. And that change was very, very painful. Even today when I'm talking about that period, I usually say that that was my hardest and my first immigration, because I came out of it being a completely different person. When this 2020 isolation started, I opened the notebook and I began writing on one side how I felt and what I've experienced back then and where I'm standing and what I see right now. And the first thing I've noticed, or I became aware, how far I've come. And second, I was reminded again that my biggest loss wasn't the loss of material things, of some possibilities, activities, or the life I should have had, but the loss of connection I felt with the close ones, with the people around me, and the people from my society. So right now, I'm standing in 2020, and I am holding completely different cards in my hands. Maybe because I was in a different environment, and maybe because I was living a completely different life, I suddenly got an impulse to do something, and I didn't know what, but I knew that it has to do something with connection and care, because we need years to build connections and sometimes a lifetime to rebuild the broken ones. Every day I was faced with the reality of pain, loss, and fear, but this time I wasn't overwhelmed, nor I tried to run away. I was staring at it and asking myself, what we don't see and we have, what we can save, what we just gain overnight. And then I suddenly, like a small window opened and I realized, oh my God, the whole planet is acting as one. We are all in the same struggle. We are all standing in the same shoes, at the same time on the same side. That's it. This is the time, this is the chance, this is opportunity to finally connect, because we can cross our borders easily. We have technology on our side, and we can cross those borders and say, Hi, this is me. Who are you? Maybe I don't know, but I see you. I hear you. I'm with you. The big idea of this project is, let's get together, let's meet and share our experiences, our emotions, our thoughts. Because this coronavirus situation is teaching us that what is happening in Wuhan is actually affecting the whole life on the planet. And we are getting from this with a lecture that from now on, the whole human race will be in the same struggle, but also peace together. And the small frame of this project is, one by one, I want to bring up voices, experiences, faces from all over the world, from different parts of the world, who will say and share something about their personal journey. We need to talk about this. We need to see and hear each other in order to connect. Our stories are more powerful than we think. Just by sharing them, we can get emotional relief, mental clarity, we can gain wider perspective, we can bond and restore the trust and hope that we all need. Like with anything these days, I'm moving step by step, and my job is to keep my eyes and ears open. For example, I didn't know that I will make this video, but a friend of mine made a good point by suggesting that I should do it. So I'm holding the space for this project to change and grow and develop. I'm going from situation to situation, and sometimes after I finish recording, I realized who is the next person that I will invite, on what is the topic that I will cover, or how I want to change my approach. Liminal world is a term that is coming from anthropology, and is usually here to refer some space in between. We are all going through those rites of passages, and that's the space when we are pretty uncomfortable. We are going without any scripts, no anticipation. We are pushing our limits, and that's the space when we are learning the most. It's very uncomfortable, and we would all like to rush through it and to get to the other side when everything is safe and secure. But this is also the space when there are all possibilities, they're all alive and they're all here. So we will either watch one side and see all the limitations, or we'll all get together and try to find the other way. I think that the whole humanity right now is living in that liminal space. We are all going day by day from situation to situation. We are all living without scripts and guidelines. We cannot anticipate what will happen next. But I think that we will go through this period with less discomfort if we work together. Instead of waiting for this new world to unfold itself or unfold on its own, let's get together, let's meet, and let's plant a seed by saying, what is the world that we all want to live in from now on?